In case you're new to this planet, Jeffrey Epstein was basically this incredibly wealthy financier who was full of shit, who was charged with sex trafficking minors and like so much more. Oh my gosh. He even had a private island. And on this private island, he had a shrine on it. Honestly, it's a box with like really nice tiling. It's kind of pretty. I think maybe he did yoga in it, but many suggest it's probably some kind of weird sacrificial box shrine place. You know, we don't know, but it's creepy looking. He also had an airplane, a little private airplane that he would fly people on, and it was nicknamed the Lolita Express. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? You know, no one called him out on it, and no one found out until way after he died, blah, blah, blah. We can go on about him forever. But in his spare time, when he wasn't getting massaged by a teenager or stealing their passports, Jeffrey Epstein actually hosted fancy dinner parties for the world's top scientists, including many Nobel Prize winners. And it turns out Jeffrey had ulterior motives. Oh, really, Bailey? Yeah. Because starting in the early 2000s, he started talking about using his own sperm to start impregnating multiple women at once. Ugh. Do you remember seeing that video where someone was describing his penis as like a little egg-shaped penis, like it was little and stuff? I just find that funny for some reason. Because obviously he couldn't impregnate them naturally because it wouldn't, like, the dick wouldn't go in that deep. So he'd have to do it artificially. But he was obsessed with getting his sperm in people. Just, ew, his little egg dick. Ugh. No, I'm not shaming egg dicks out there. Just his. Anywho, so he wanted to impregnate women. He wanted to get them all pregnant, and then he would keep them living at his ranch in New Mexico. And his ranch was called Zorro Ranch. Maybe he liked the movie or the show or something. I don't know. It's just creepy. And he wasn't even trying to like keep this a secret. He would openly talk about like this plan at his sciencey dinner parties. Ugh. Ugh. Like, he's so special. He wasn't, though. He was just a liar. Like, that's what's... Okay, whatever. These Nobel scientists were probably like... I'm sure some were, like, thrilled about it, but who knows? I don't know what they said. According to the New York Times, Epstein threw over-the-top dinner parties at his mansion, and over dinner, he would just tell people that his goal was to have 20 women pregnant at the same time at his 33,000 square foot ranch. Again, weird, set up cameras, we got 20 kids and counting, right? TLC, they'd buy that, I'm sure. Apparently Epstein was trying to like populate the world with his children. Ugh. And he credits Robert Graham for giving him the idea. He's so gross. He's such a slime ball. So Epstein was like doing the same thing at these dinner parties that Paul Smith was doing at college campuses. He was looking for donors, or in Epstein's case, high-achieving women who he could get pregnant. Jaron Lanier, who is considered the founder of virtual reality, went on the record saying he had the impression that Epstein was using his little dinner parties to, quote, screen candidates to bear Mr. Epstein's children. A lot of the guests were, according to him, the VR guy, attractive women with impressive academic credentials. Cool, you know? Thankfully, this dream never came true because Epstein killed himself. Or did he? At least he's gone. He was a piece of shit, you know what I'm saying? Even though Graham and Epstein are long gone, the designer baby story doesn't end here. In fact, it's about to start ramping back up in a big way. This is when something called CRISPR enters the chat. I know, it makes me hungry. CRISPR, it reminds me of like a thin crust pizza. When you leave it in the oven a little bit too long, the edges get nice and burnt. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like CRISPR. Has nothing to do with that though, but that's what I think of because I'm hungry, you know? Anywho, what is CRISPR, Bailey? You might be thinking to yourself. CRISPR Therapeutics is a gene editing company that came up with this insane technology to edit DNA. What? Yes. CRISPR has a very long sciencey official name, but what you need to know is that it allows scientists to look at someone's DNA find trouble spots and just kind of snip that bad genetic material out, like toss it in the trash. For example, it could allow doctors to remove the genes that may lead to things like breast cancer. Whatever else, great. I'm sure we could all agree, like, that's a good thing, right? To get rid of, like, yeah, who wouldn't want that? You don't want like cancers or, you get it. Moving on. On top of that, CRISPR can add new genetic info to DNA. So this tech is advancing so fast that we're not far away from literally designing your own baby. Like, build a bear, build a baby. Eye color, height, hair color, IQ, whatever you want, it's all up for grabs. Parents can decide all sorts of things about the kid before they're even born. I know, I'd be like, I want my baby to be like 6'8", handsome, green eyes, olive skin, straight teeth, smart. I want to make sure like my baby has a big dick. Not in a weird way, but I want him to be like successful in life and be able to like dick someone down if needed. Right? I'm thinking about these things for my baby. Now, of course, doing all this, like, it costs money. And right now, it costs a ton. Procedures using CRISPR are about $1 to like $3 million per treatment. So I think we can all take a good guess who has access to this type of thing. It's not your neighbor or, The big fear is that using CRISPR may lead to new eugenics movements that could eliminate entire populations of people, or even create two classes of people separated by a major divide. People who have been enhanced by CRISPR and the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Like super babies, superhumans, us normals. Not great. We don't know. Either way, many people believe we're literally at the point where we might be sliding down that slippery slope of playing God, And if that's the case, what other choice do we have than to embrace all this? And who knows what that is going to do for equality? Yeah, speaking of that, it seems that the designer baby movement is promising all sorts of amazing things for the entire human race. That's just not possible. I mean, look how expensive it is. I'm not even just talking about artificial insemination or the gene editing. I'm talking about just having a kid. That in itself is really expensive. I'm sure we can all agree. It's too expensive most of the time for me to even consider buying like an outfit for my Build-A-Bear. That's really expensive. The Build-A-Bear outfits? Yeah, you end up leaving with a naked bear because you couldn't afford anything. I mean, yeah, the Build-A-Bear is perfect for me, but he has no pants, no hat, no purse. Just like the other day when I locked myself out of the house. It was rough. I had no pants on. I got locked out of my house and I had to just wait for like 45 minutes with no pants on, full bush, out. I'm not kidding. I just sat there like, what am I gonna do? Shit. This is why I shouldn't have kids. I got in eventually. What I'm getting at is that it seems like only the wealthy and powerful have the time, access, and money to have designer babies, which is not going to end up well for us. But even if all of us had the same access to CRISPR, and let's just say, in the perfect world, we could get the most genetically perfect baby, I'm sure a lot of us would do it, right? Right? You wouldn't want your baby to be stupid, ugly, you'd want them to be healthy. I'm sure we'd all want that. But like, we don't really know what all of this tech is going to lead to for us. Or them. What if they malfunction or something? What if something else develops in their DNA? Something we don't know. I don't know. Dr. Nada Kubikova, a reproductive biologist, believes that even though DNA can be edited, the effects of the CRISPR technology could be damaging. Basically, editing the DNA in order to fix it might actually end up giving us other health issues later. Because once we break the DNA, we don't really know like what the long-term effects are. So I guess those are going to be the practice babies. Stay tuned. We'll see. I don't know.